Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is going to be a two-part video. The first part is going to be showing some decks that I channel the Morrigan with. I'm constantly connecting and channeling with the Morrigan with all my decks, but these decks really feel like I have a deep connection when I'm talking to her with the decks that I have to show for this video. And then the second part is going to be more of a discussion topic. I received a message while I was sleeping and from the Morrigan, and I wanted to share. So the first deck that I have that I use with the Morrigan is my deck, the Earth Faery Tarot. I did this deck in 3 to 3.5 months. Me constantly receiving messages on what to put on the cards. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I finally got a chance to last year. So my deck will be released in June, online and in a local shop. I'm planning on doing interpretation videos for my deck to get an idea of what my vision was, and of course there's going to be many meanings for each card, but I'll go through some of the main meanings that I tried to portray in my deck. So that was the first one. The second one is the Witchbone Tarot. I got this a couple years ago in a trade on Instagram from the creator, Aubrey Sieb. And she reached out to me when I had a deck up for trade, and I remember that she used to trade her decks if she was interested in getting something else. For now, Tarot and Oracle Swap isn't working. The last time I tried posting for it, it was, I got a response from the person that ran the Tarot and Oracle Swap account saying that we aren't doing sales at the time because people weren't getting their decks that they paid for, and maybe they sent decks for. So that, I saw that account wasn't active either. But I feel like the creator may put this deck out again. It feels Fae in a way that it comes and goes. Like the Fae energy feels more present sometimes, and then it feels like they're away doing their own business other times. I love this cardstock. I love the color palette too. I remember that the creator was saying that she had a vision for having this color palette, and it is a powerful one. These are colors that I associate with the Morrigan. And they're bold and evocative, and they are extremely present in reading. They're more subdued in a way that there isn't a lot of imagery, but there doesn't need to be a lot of imagery to get the interpretation out. And there are some, in a way, color blocking where it focuses on certain areas of the imagery, or the image is a certain color. This deck really gets your mind going. I love it. So, these are the backs, and I've been showing my deck in many of my videos. If you haven't seen the backs, these are the backs. They're actually tattoos that I have on my back. Reverting back to the Earth Fairy Tarot my deck, while I was creating my deck, and while I was solely using my deck for a certain period of time after I created it and printed the cards, I received a gift called the Way Home Tarot. And I feel like this is a deck that really sent a message to me, because the Fairy Tarot, or Fairy Tarot, is an ode to my home that I consider, which is the fairy realm. So this feels like it's going full circle too. I love the backs. It kind of looks like what I have behind me. I have a Labradorite with this one too, from my husband, and I'll talk about that again. But this is more of a modern deck compared to the other decks that I have. I love the court cards. And it was definitely a surprise to receive this deck. It felt like confirmation that the Earth Fairy Tarot was meant to be in this world. There are some intense images in this deck and the Witchbone Tarot. I love this one. The backs are a bit of a surprise when you look on the other side and look at the cards. And that again reminds me of the fairy realm too, because it seems like sometimes they're undermined when you have a certain perception of what the Fae are. So I needed to include an animal deck, and some of these decks you have seen in other videos. This is one of my main working decks, the Animal Wise Tarot. I redid the backs because the backs weren't it wasn't sized correctly, so I actually sprayed it, and then I know calling me out for that, because I had to modify it a couple of times because the spray wasn't completely drying, and then I laminated it afterwards. I love these images. I consider this the second edition. I have talked about this in other videos because the first edition is the pink one, and this edition has a newer one that has different cardstock that makes the cards see-through, and then the borders are a darker color, which I didn't connect to. It was interesting because this deck was in a shop in Medway, Massachusetts, where I used to work at the time, and I remember connecting to that deck specifically. It was one of the open ones, and I bought the deck because I felt a connection with the open one, but when I opened the deck, it was different. So a couple years later, I called up the shop and I asked if I would be able to purchase the opened one, and they were kind of confused about it, but they're like, okay, that's fine. I read these two differently. If you guys want to see a video about it, you can tell me. So I have maternal energy coming from the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. This was actually the first gift that my husband ever gifted me. Definitely a wise choice. I put a desert rose on here. It came with the box. The box is from Montana, and it fits the cards perfectly. This is the 1986 edition. They do have technically a black and white one, but it's not this deck. It has a... What happened, because I actually have that copy, they give you like papers that are a bit thicker. They're thicker than regular paper, and then you cut them out and then you can color them in if you want to. Then there's also the colored one too, which already comes like this. So I have said this, that my sun is in Libra, but exactly half my chart is in Scorpio, so I am a Scorpio moon too, and I feel a strong connection to watery energy. Not necessarily oceans, but I do have some visions of different things having to do with the ocean. So just water in general. But my favorite body of water that I connect to right now is lagoons. And the next one is the Faery Wicca. I'm not a Wiccan. I just say that in case I say or do something that doesn't go with the beliefs of the Wiccans. So this deck has archetypes of the Morrigan. So this is the main deck that I associate with her. Sorry, I'm just looking at my time. There's a small version that comes with the small book with the regular size cards. And I have the one with the small and large book. I have the large book. This one, I would, if you're interested in getting this deck, I would make sure I see the pictures. To be honest, I didn't see the pictures for this deck. I actually was outbid when I was bidding for the small book with the deck, but then I went on Amazon a couple years ago. This was actually published on my birthday, by the way, like many of Llewellyn's decks. I went on Amazon and I saw that they were selling a used copy, and there wasn't any pictures because it was a third-party seller, and I took the risk and I actually got the large book, so I feel like it was meant to happen like that. So my last deck that I'm going to show is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot, which I showed in a recent Invoking the Morrigan video. I love this deck. This copy was a gift from my husband, and reverting back to the Labradorite that my husband got me, I actually bought us 2 Labradorites for our anniversary, and he didn't know that, and then when we were at the shop, he wanted to get us matching Labradorites. So that's the telepathic communication with that. But I keep the one that I purchased with this deck. It really hones into the energy. So since I'm running out of time, I wanted to go to the message stream part of the video. So a couple nights ago, I sensed that the Morrigan was in the room, and I saw a gray mist. Now, given the Morrigan is a shapeshifter, but in general, not everything that isn't of our form going to be in specific appearances. So I knew, even though that she comes in different forms, that it was the Morrigan. And then she kind of put the message in my head, because I didn't really think of this on my own. I said, if this is the Morrigan, please give me my message. And then I fell asleep very quickly, because I don't usually fall asleep quickly. And I did feel like tingly mist on me, and then I closed my eyes, and I was seeing, it was 350 to 400 AD. I knew the time when I woke up, and then I looked it up, and then there was this pagan ruler named Adrian, different spelling though. And I received a bag, and it was heavy. It was dark purple, and I felt like it was a cream bag. I could feel the weight of it, and it felt unusual for the size of the bag because it was like this big. And the time looked modern, but at the same time it didn't feel modern because it looked like a museum, an older museum, but it looked like an older time. And the people there, I was talking to somebody, and the person told me that they were trying to bring back the dinosaurs. So I have some thoughts on it. If you guys wanted to chime in on that, you can put your comment down below on what your interpretation of it is. So, although this feels like a fiery, or it looks like a fiery deck, it definitely feels watery to me. And I've been feeling tongue-tied for this video because I feel like there's a lot of messages that I'm channeling right now, and I'm trying to get them all out, but then I'm not a fast talker, so I'm tripping on my words. I ended this other video where I was just going through the cards of the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I felt like I wanted to do more videos on the Morrigan. So if you have other video requests, you can let me know, and I'll post more videos. I usually put my own interpretation on it, so if there's a specific request, I feel like I get it out in my own way. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was interesting and helpful for some people who also are Daughters of the Morrigan. So I'll see you in another video.